Have you ever wondered what it would be like if Einstein, Steve Jobs, and your child's brain had a party? Welcome to the Neuroquirky Nexus, where we celebrate the extraordinary minds of our neurodiverse children. Welcome to you amazing parents and caregivers to this podcast. Here we are going to navigate the colorful world of neurodiversity, and we're going to explore holistic, out-of-the-box solutions for children and teens with ADHD, stress, anxiety, and other neuroquirks. Each week we'll dive into practical, brain-based techniques and quirky strategies to help your child thrive. I'm Lori Bloyer, a former veteran teacher turned holistic neurogrowth, learning, and life success coach. As a parent of a neurodiverse child myself, I've spent the last 20 years researching, experimenting, and developing unconventional approaches to support these unique minds. I myself have ADHD diagnosed later in life, and thank goodness, now I understand some of my neuroquirks, and I am going to give you, from my years of teaching in the classroom, my son and myself, several tips, tricks, strategies to help you and your child thrive and create peace at home and joy in your life. So, are you ready? Let's get quirky. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Neuroquirky Nexus. I am so happy to have you here with us today. And today we're going to talk about something that I haven't really touched on before, but is probably living in a lot of people's households: sibling dynamics and your neurodiverse child. So we're going to help our kids understand that fair doesn't always mean equal in the house with siblings and neurodiversity. All right. So welcome back. I'm Lori Bloyer, your host in this journey. And we're just here to explore the beauty and brilliance and sometimes bewildering moments of raising our neurodivergent kids. As we talked about, we're going to be diving into sibling rivalry, especially when one kid has learning or thinking differences. Are you ready to get started? Let's get quirky. Okay, let's be real. Sibling rivalry is a totally normal part of growing up, whether it's fighting over who gets the bigger cookie or who got to pick the movie last night, who gets to sit in the front seat. I remember that with my siblings. How about you guys? Competition and conflict can happen even in the most loving of families. But when one child is neurodivergent, maybe they have ADHD, autism, anxiety, or stress. Those are really high these days. That the stakes can feel a lot higher, or even life can be a little bit more challenging, right? You might hear things like, why does she get more time on her homework? How come he never gets in trouble for yelling? It's not fair. Things like that. Does that live in your house? And those comments can sting, not just for you as a parent, but also because they reveal just how much your kids don't yet understand about equity and needs. And it's really our job as parents to teach that. So what's particularly challenging is that neurotypical siblings often witness their neurodivergent brother or sister receiving what appears to be preferential treatment or extra attention. This can create a complex emotional mixture of resentment, confusion, and sometimes even guilt for feeling jealous. Maybe you've seen that in your house. Let's reframe. What is fair versus equal? Let's talk about this. Fair doesn't always mean equal. I hope we're all very clear on that, right? I know you've heard this before, but it's not just a cute phrase. It's a powerful mindset shift that we all have to make in our family. Think about this. If one of your children needed glasses, you wouldn't say, well, for fairness, everyone in the family has to wear them. No, you wouldn't. Glasses help a person who needs them. The same goes for extra support in school sensory breaks, or more time to finish chores. I know I definitely would talk about this in my classrooms. I wear glasses and would talk about fair versus equal with my glasses. And when students in my classrooms needed those extra supports, we definitely had to break it down and talk about this. One of the most impactful things you can do is help your kids understand accommodations are not special treatment. They're just the tools each person needs to thrive. I love using the Band-Aid analogy with kids. If one child scrapes their knee, they get a Band-Aid. The other child doesn't need one at the moment, right? Later, when the other child gets hurt, they get a Band-Aid when they need it. Different needs at different times. That's equity in action. Something we don't talk enough about is what it's like to be the neurotypical sibling. Research has shown that siblings of neurodivergent children often develop incredible strengths like empathy, patience, and adaptability, qualities that serve them well throughout life. But they also face unique challenges. They might feel pressure to be the easy child, or they may take on caretaking responsibility earlier than their peers. They might struggle with complex emotions like embarrassment or resentment or jealousy. And then they might feel guilt about those feelings. They often receive less parental attention during crisis moments, or in many moments, right? If we're being honest. It's important to acknowledge that the neurotypical sibling experience is valid and deserves its own space and support. This isn't about comparing hardships. It's about recognizing that for everyone in the family, the system is affected and has needs. Really important to acknowledge that. But what's really going on beneath the rivalry? Sometimes a sibling's jealousy or frustration isn't about the specific support their neurodivergent sibling is getting. It's about feeling unseen or less important. It's hard to admit as a parent because you are trying your best for all your kids, but one child might be getting more meetings, more doctor visits, or just more of your emotional bandwidth. I've spoken with many families where the neurotypical sibling actually understands the concept of fairness versus equity quite well. However, what they're really saying with "it's not fair" is, I need some attention too. I'm struggling and I don't know how to express it. That's what they might really be saying, even though they understand what's going on the surface. They really do need that time too. So what can we do about it? Here are a few practical tips and things that can help make a big difference. You can create intentional one-on-one time with each of your children, right? Even if it's just 15 minutes, spend time with each child doing something they choose, or just talking to them, or walking with them, or whatever activity they would like. Let them feel like the star of the show, not the sidekick. You could encourage open feelings without blame. Let siblings express their frustrations. Create a safe space to say things like, "It's hard when your brother gets more help and you don't." Then reflect their feelings. "Yeah, I can see why that feels unfair." Right? Really helping them work through those feelings. Use team language. Frame the family as a team where everyone contributes differently. Your sister's role is to practice calming strategies. Your role is helping us keep track of time. Everyone's role matters. Wouldn't that be empowering? Wouldn't that really set them up for the future? Celebrate everyone's strengths. Make a regular habit of pointing out and appreciating what each child does well, especially things unrelated to school or behavior. Create sibling-only bonding opportunities. So you bonded with them. Now it's time for them to bond. Foster activities where siblings can connect without parent mediation. This might be a shared hobby, cooperative video game, or special project they work on together. Something that hopefully won't cause any frustration or anger, but that will have just the consequence of bonding. That's what we want. And be transparent about different needs. Age-appropriate explanations about neurodiversity really can help siblings understand why certain accommodations exist, really help with that empathy, building the strength of empathy. And that can be done through conversations or books or videos. Social stories can be great tools here. Hope those were helpful. I hope those gave you some ideas. You probably are doing a lot of those already, but if you're not, great way to set both kids up for the future and beyond. Can you go beyond the future? Huh. The immediate future and beyond. How about that? All right, and let's support our siblings through different life stages. As sibling dynamics evolve and as children grow, so our approach needs to evolve too. In preschool, you can keep explanations simple, of course. Brains work differently. Focus on concrete example. Your brother needs his headphones because loud sounds really hurt his ears. Use picture books about differences and celebrating uniqueness. For elementary age, you can introduce more detailed explanations about neurodiversity. They're going to start seeing it in the classroom, obviously with their sibling as well, so you can have those conversations and create opportunities for the neurotypical sibling to express feelings through art or play or journals or talking. However, you can open up that conversation, as we also talked about earlier. And consider support groups if needed. If your child needs a support group, look into those. There are many in communities, and many websites can facilitate that connection if you're looking. And then, of course, our teenagers, acknowledge the social impact on siblings, the embarrassment, the explaining to friends. Involve neurotypical teens in family decisions when appropriate, giving them autonomy and making sure they're seen and heard, really important for these teenage years. Respect their need for space and identity outside the family system, and connect them with teen sibling support networks. So again, really just encouraging everyone, if they need to get support from other areas, not just the family, but talk to other kids that are going through similar things, that helps. But as much as you can also be the guide and the support during challenging times at home. Okay, so let me just give you a few little mini scripts for tricky moments, right? Some things you might say. Well, some phrases that you can borrow if it flares up. Let's see. It's not about who gets more. It's about who needs what right now. That's a good phrase to say, yes? It's not about who gets more. It's about who needs what right now. And you can stick in the Band-Aid or the glasses example if you need to. Here's another one. Your brother's brain works differently, and he's learning how to manage that. You're learning things too, just in a different way. See how that doesn't trigger anyone and makes it the explanations clear and understandable? How about, I love you both the same, and I'm here for both of you. You can even add on to that, right? I'm here for both of you when you need me, or as needed, or so that it does really make it clear. I'm proud of how you're learning to understand each other. That's real growth. I'm proud of how you're learning to understand each other. That's real growth. Again, really putting it on the children to understand that they are growing and this is a learning experience and they're doing amazing. Let them see the positive more than the negative. As I tell many of my clients, we really want them to be saying more positive things than negatives. So as much as you can reinforce that, that's beautiful. It makes sense that you feel frustrated sometimes. Those feelings are okay. That's really a good one to say. It makes sense that you feel frustrated sometimes. Those feelings are okay. Acknowledge those feelings. You're frustrated, sad, angry, mad. Also, that vocabulary is really good for your neurotypical and for your neurodivergent child, right? Learning those words and being able to get in touch with their body and I teach in one of my courses, notice and wonder statements. So those are also wonderful things to do. And maybe I'll talk about that more, especially with anger. Okay, what would help you feel special today? How is that one? Yeah, what would help you feel special today? I love that one. And last one that I wrote down here, you're right that your sister gets extra help with reading. What's something you might need extra help with? How can I help you? How can I support you? Especially with our teens, we want to open that door. What are you working on that you want to share with me today? So I hope those helped. I know that that doesn't cover every situation and all of your children, but some of the framing is really important. The framing of the autonomy and the empathy building and the future skill building, that's really important in those little examples I gave you. Okay, sometimes those siblings need more support than parents can provide by yourselves, right? So you can look into workshops designed to help brothers and sisters, books written for siblings, of course, counseling if that really is the case, family therapy if you need to, and online communities where siblings can connect with others in their either neurotypical or neurodivergent communities. And of course, I am here for you as well as a learning and life success coach to help with the bigger holistic picture. What's happening in the child, in their nervous system or their bodily systems, or in their environment, their nutrition, their sleeping. So I look at the big picture, but always happy to help families if there's something else that needs to be looked at. All right. We're going to close up now, and I hope this episode, again, as always, I hope these episodes are helpful and that you will share them. But navigating sibling rivalry is tough, especially when neurodiversity is part of the mix. And know that you're not alone and you don't have to get it perfect. What matters most is creating a home where every child feels seen, valued, and understood, even when their needs look different. In many ways, our neurodivergent inclusive families are microcosms of these more equitable world we want to create. That's why I put so much emphasis on autonomy and empathy. And we want this world, right, to be places where differences are understood, needs are met without judgment, and everyone belongs exactly as they are. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this helpful, again, share it with a friend or leave a review. It helps more parents find the support they need. And as always, remember, keep going, keep trying different strategies, but give each strategy a little time to work. You can't implement something and have it work by the next day. So until next time, I can't wait to talk to you again. I'm Lori Bloyer, and this is Neuroquirky Nexus. See you next time. Thank you for listening to Quirky Nexus. We are so glad you took the time to join us today. I know time is precious, and we are so glad you're here. I hope you got a lot out of this episode. Please don't forget to post your activity using hashtag NeuroNexus. That's NeuroNexus. And of course, all links are in the show notes. And I just really hope you enjoyed it. So if you did, please like and subscribe and share this with a friend. I think this is really good for families that are new to their child being diagnosed with ADHD. And I believe that the tips and tricks and resources I'll be sharing will be very helpful for all families, but especially new families. And finally, I am creating a workshop coming up to help families with ADHD finding and using a holistic, natural approach in support of a book chapter that I'm writing and articles and magazines that are coming out. But my workshop, I'm so excited about because I can work with you all one-on-one. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you again. And remember, let's keep it quirky. See you next time.